Hi, and welcome to Happy Fisherman Adventures.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman.
In today's episode, we launched at Queencliff and we had our friends Lenny and Aaron with us, and we had actually quite difficult task to do.
That's right.
To catch some fish, King George whiting or squid off Queencliff.
That's right. And plus, we didn't have any reports of anybody catching, so we said, let's give it a go. Let's give it a bash. They were in a bit of a hurry because they had to go back. Lenny had a job to do. By lunchtime, they had to go out. So he said, let's put a couple hours. And we did. We drifted for squid. There was not much squid there at all. And then we anchored for King George whiting as a really big tide came in and all that sort of stuff. So the conditions were right. But all we got is wrasse. So let's watch the first video. Well, today's episode is actually a recent adventure with my friends Lenny and Aaron. And we're launching out of Queencliff and we're having a hard task today. We're actually going to go towards Point Lonsdale, obviously around the corner from Queencliff, and try for some big squid and some King George whiting. We didn't have any particular reports about the squid at Queencliff, but if you don't go, you never know. Also for Lenny and Aaron, today is going to be a short trip as they have to be back by 1 o'clock. So here we go. We're getting out of this beautiful Queencliff harbour, and as you can see, it was a beautiful morning. Halfway down the harbour, we saw our friend Cameron, who was on jet ski, and him and young Jacob were just having fun just in front of Queencliff, but he managed to overheat his jet ski, so he was going back to get some coolant. From Queencliff ramp to actual spot in front of the cottage by the sea where we normally chase the big squid, it's not that far, so we got there very quick and we start choosing our jigs. As you can see here, I have all kind of brands: Clicks, Yamashita, Shimano, you name it, they're all there. Now, we normally go everybody different color, so we can see which color works, and then we all stick to a bright or a dark color. While we were trying hard for squid, we saw Cameron and Jacob flying past, so obviously they fixed their problem and they having some fun. Saying that, we didn't have much fun because we didn't catch one squid, so we decided to go and anchor for King George whiting. We did spend some time there and all we got is some wrasse, so it was time to go and take Lenny and Aaron back as they had things to do, and then me and Mima went back on the water, and this time we went towards Swan Bay. At Swan Bay we saw my friend Brett Dennis, who gave us some fresh mussels. Apparently King George only wanted mussels today. Saying that, this was my spot where I normally chase garfish, and I burled at the back and garfish came straight away. And what do you know, Mima was on already. Now one more thing, if anybody knows how to open these mussels easier, please let me know. I actually always end up with blood on my fingers. We did cast few King George whiting rods out there, but our primary target today was garfish. We love eating garfish, and every time the garfish is around, we switch, we stop everything. Don't worry about snapper or anything, we love catching garfish. Again, just for the record, our secret ingredients catching garfish is tuna. I put a little bit of it in my burley bucket at the back of the boat, and then we use a small piece like matchstick head, just a small piece on a long, very small long shank hook. Then, as you can see, no float. We don't use float here. The water is actually going really fast. So all we do is use a little small split rod sinker drop it right at the back of the boat and let the water take it about 2-3 meters away, and it will keep it about 1 meter to half a meter just below the surface, and that's where we target the garfish. Also to mention, it is the middle of the day, so it's about 1 o'clock. The tide is coming in, and it's coming in fast. It's actually quite a big tide. And yeah, we were hoping that there would be more King George whiting, but unfortunately, not so many around. On the corner there, you can see Mima has some issues. We love using bright, but bright when it tangles, oh my god. So the best thing to do sometime is get the scissors and cut it. Mima's got the patience to actually try and fix it, I don't. Anyway, we moved about 10 meters and we start fishing again. People would ask you, why are you moving if the fish is going? Well, garfish will follow you, will follow the burley trail, but we didn't get any King George whiting, so I tried to spot a patch where I actually can target King George whiting, and what do you know, we got him straight away. It wasn't a big fish so we can brag about it, but it was a King George whiting. Also, if you can have a look at my rig, I got him on paternoster rig, not on running rig or tinganoster rig. So sometime you never know, so you always have one of each just out there and see what works.
Well, as you saw in the previous video, we had to move quite a few times to find the fish, but we ended up finding it, and it was well worth moving.
And going different directions, because we went away from Queencliff, we went to St. Leonard's, and once you see people catching and you are not catching, maybe just try and move 5-10 meters. I always say that you don't move away, you just move 10 meters, because you may, casting in the grass. And if it's a big grass and all that stuff underneath you, all you're going to get is leather jacket.
Or nothing.
Let's watch the next video. As you can see here, the second spot, considering King George whiting, proved to be much better. One thing I need to say and clarify, I only moved 10 meters. I did not move miles away. When you target King George whiting, all you need to do is move 10-15 meters. That's it. You will find that sand patch where they're feeding, and once you get them, they'll be on in numbers. I'm still struggling with these damn mussels, but they work. It proved to be the preferred bite today, and yeah, I had no choice but actually use mussels. In meantime, Mima cast one rod for King George whiting, and surely enough she had one in no time. Now the standard tinganoster rig by Reddy's worked a treat, and it always worked, but on the other side you could see it was the actual paternoster that we got it. So we always mix and match, we do not stick with one thing only. While I went to get some more bait, Mima actually managed to get another fish, this time on my side. So they were at the back of the boat somehow in the burley trail, but they were not aggressive, they were actually finicky. In no time around us there was heaps of boats, and they all start catching odd fish. And it's good to see, it's good to see a healthy bite, it's good to see people happy, and that's all that matters. While I was casting one rod, the other one managed to get a fish straight away. Now this one took the paternoster rig, but it took the bottom hook, and normally that's what whiting does. King George always takes obviously the bite off the bottom. Very rarely does take the top one, but very rare. So it's not unusual for them to go on paternoster rig, but on the bottom hook. Then, while Mima was winding one rod out, the other one took off. So quickly I grabbed her rod, took it out while she actually was reeling the fish in. When the whiting is on the tube, you have to be quick because you want to make the most of that time, because they will be on for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and that's it. Sometimes you can't even put the rod down. As you can see, Mima didn't even manage to wash her hands, she already got a touch. And before you realize, she hooked another one. Slowly but surely we were getting few.
Well, pretty quick. There were quite few boats around us, and I have to say it was actually really good to see few boats catching the fish.
Of course, I know a few people getting upset that boats come close to you, but hey, you need to share it in, it's plenty fish for everyone. So let's watch the next video. Here is a quick look what happened straight under the boat. So as you can see, we did anchor in the grass, but we were casting away in front of us in the sand patch. The day was actually beautiful, so it's no surprise but there were so many boats everywhere. We had quite a few King George by now, so Mima decided to switch and start fishing for garfish, and in no time she started getting some straight away. Remember, to get garfish behind your boat, the key is good burley. And I mixed the here fishy burley with actual tuna oil and some fresh tuna, and I do put some fresh pilchard in the back of my burley bucket, and that's what attracts the garfish to your boat. In the meantime, these boys were polite and asked can they anchor right next to us. Of course we said yes, and very quickly they start catching as well. They were catching few King George, they were catching few garfish as well, so they were happy. Just remember, there is plenty fish for everyone. So it doesn't matter if it's one boat next to you or 100 boats next to you. If you know what you're doing, you're gonna catch them. When the King George is on or garfish, there is plenty of fish, so everybody goes home happy. Just before the sunset, we were on our way back as it got a little bit chilly. We had a beautiful day out. It was actually quite pleasant to be out there. It was very calm and we caught plenty fish. So what else can we ask for?
Well, the very next video is something different. It's our friend Ange with his son Christopher. They went to Point Richards catching King George whiting.
As you know, all we do is try to encourage you guys, get your grandsons, get your grandkids, get your son, get your wife out there and spend some quality time on the water. Spend some time together, I suppose.
And daughter.
And daughter, yeah, of course. But you're going to see in this video, father and son, it's just magic to see them fishing together. They're catching some King George whiting, so it's good to see another perspective of how they catch fish as well. Well, King George whiting. And it's just something different, instead of just me and Mima all the time plucking fish. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you, Ange, for the footage.
Well, this adventure we received from my friend Ange, and this is just in front of Point Richards boat ramp, and it's Ange with his son Christopher chasing King George whiting. Now, the usual, pippies, calamari and good willpower. Well, Ange didn't even manage to take his jacket off and get ready. Christopher already was on the fish, so that tells you something. Definitely they were on a good spot. So while Ange was unpacking the Riddy's Tinganasta rig, Christopher was on his second fish. So it was a very promising session. There is quite a few fish around Point Richard, but they're not that big. They're actually very average, 30 to 35 centimeters. odd 40, but you have to be lucky. Saying that, best time it's either early morning or just before the sunset. And here we go. Ange had a nibble and he just lifted the rod straight away in excitement, so he lost the fish. Sometimes he has to learn some tips and tricks from his son Christopher and be a little bit more patient. And this is how it's done. I mentioned this before and I'm gonna say it again. Take your wife, take your son, take your grandson and spend some quality time on the water with your family. It's the best time where you build memories, you make some laughs, and it's just lovely to be out there. Well, Christopher had 3 fish, Ange none. So Ange was on a fish, but by the shakes it was the wrong species, so this one doesn't count. In this area there is few pinkies around, but they're quite small. After that pinky, Ange managed to get his first King George whiting. Then from here he took on. As you can see here, this one took the paternoster rig and he took the top hook. It's very unusual to do that, but they do sometimes, and sometimes you can get 2 at once as well. In meantime, Christopher started getting ripped off by small fish. They were pinching his bite in no time and it was quite hard to fish. From time to time, you just have to throw another handful of burley. That normally keeps the fish in the area for longer, and yeah, you just pluck them one after the other. As it got dark, the fish was still on. Sometime, winter time, you can actually catch fish way after sunset, well, in pitch black. And there is people that actually go and target King George whiting at night. They leave 2 o'clock at night when it's actually dark, and they come with a bag limit and a bigger fish as well. But it's not that comfortable. Being winter, it can be quite cold. Once the fish stopped, they actually made a move, and again, the move was only about 10-15 meters away. Sometime in one session, we could be moving 5-6 times to find that feeding patch, I suppose. Other people, I know they sit in one spot, they burley and they white. And sometimes that works, but I don't think I'm born to do that. I love moving around, I love exploring, finding new grounds, and as you can see, my friends, most of them do exactly the same thing. One big thanks to Ange for this footage, and as you can see, father and son fishing, priceless.
Well, where is the fish? Let me start with this. Most popular fish at the moment, it's our bread and butter fish, it's King George whiting and calamari.
That's it.
And they are pretty much all around the bay, I'd say, at this time of the year. They are in Avalon, Point Richards, Corio Bay, Leopold, Clifton Springs, all the way around to St. Leonard's and
Mud Island as
Mud
well.
Island. And
They are finicky, but. And they, one day you catch them, like I have to say, we were catching in Leopold consistently.
yes.
And it was a really good run. Now it slowed down a little bit and the fish is smaller. St. Leonard's the same. There was big fish. Just the other day, people are catching but very small fish again. So unfortunately it's fishing. You can't always catch big fish and catch, I wish to catch a big fish, but hey, sometimes you have to deal with what's out there. Calamari the same. You go one day and you get 10 in 2 minutes. And then you say, oh, that's fantastic. You go the very next day, there is no calamari around, no squid. So most popular actually area for squid at the moment is around Mud Island. And a little bit of it in front of indented heads. But they're small calamari, so they're not that big. Other than that, Portland. Portland lately, tuna. It's been a hit and miss from what I heard. They keep on traveling from Port Fairy to Nelson, and sometimes they go back. And Yeah. Well, around the Julia Island, there is, if you launch in Portland, you have to pass the Julia Island on Port Fairy side. and there was heaps of Will was there, and Will got a schoolie and saw heaps of fish around. They were not feeding, but they managed one. At the same time, Marco Sharkman and all the other boys, they were just about at Nelson. So they gone past Bridgewater, further down, and they saw a bust up. And they had actually, all day they were on the water, nothing. And then they had 6 ways and you name it, and they backed out.
That was in the afternoon.
I heard today from my friend JJ, he's basically saying that tuna's back now to all the way to Port Mac, because he was on the way to Port and somehow did a U-turn and now it's back to Port Mac. So again, you have to chase them, you have to find them. Don't just blind troll at the moment, unless you want to do barrels around the tower and all around, well, the Cape Nelson Lighthouse. They're catching them, but you'll have 70 boats and maybe 2 boats got a barrel. So you have to put hours and you have to be lucky.
Also, Richard Abella and our friend Dima are getting big time into swordfish.
Out of Lake's entrance, it is a big hike. It's 100k away. You know, you're passing the oil rigs and all that sort of stuff. This is the time, this is the season. And yeah, they both, the good and the better. They're really good. Those guys know what they're doing in that. It is a lovely fish. Swordfish is magic.
Good on you guys.
As you can see, we're on a new boat. Well, we borrowed. First thing first, I don't go without basic tools, and the basic tools are obviously a pair of pliers, a knife to cut my bait, a flatty deflicker like this one, Ocean Accessory, or the round one. You can use both, any. And I usually carry one of these plastic pliers that I can grab a gurnet or any of that kind of stuff. So this is my basic tools that I take with me anytime, anywhere I go. Oh, and the most important, sorry I forgot, it's the rag. You must have a rag at all the time. No one keep food around.
And I thought it would be the most important
Tool
to have Chiquita on the boat.
Guys, thanks again for purchasing our hoodies, our t-shirts, our overalls. Thanks for your support. We really appreciate it.
And once again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and we will see you next time.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman.